Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is your boy Fitz TV here, aka Jalorn33. I'm back here today with another video on the channel for you guys. Feels really good to be here. I'm trying to get back to making regular content, and it's been such a struggle because I had so much going on in my personal life. I just got back from vacation, and it's been hell, man. Like, I missed the Budokai Tenkaichi 4 trailer. I missed so many things, and I just don't have as much time as I used to make videos. But I'm trying my best to get back to making some form of regular content. So please stick with me. But anyway, I'm here today to give you guys your manga chapter 91 review. The spoilers for the chapter have actually been out for almost a week now. But the official chapter released today. What's today's date? Today's the 19th, I believe. Yeah, March 19th. And you guys probably are watching this on the 20th or the 21st. But we are going to go through this month's Dragon Ball Super manga chapter just like we do almost every single month. This is the adaptation for the superhero movie. All right, Torotaro is doing the superhero movie, and for the most part, the events are the same. There are some tweaks here and there. It's similar to what Torotaro did with like the Goku Black Arc and the Tournament of Power. For the most part, the events are the same, but there's some changes. But it's basically the same story. But I don't. This is a little bit of a longer chapter too. But since this follows the superhero movie for the most part, hopefully this isn't as long as a review as some of the other reviews we've done in the past. I'm hoping I'm not on here for almost an hour talking, but it is what it is. I also do want to apologize if you guys can't see me that well. It's because my camera battery is dead and it's charging right now. But I didn't want to wait to make this video. So apologies if you can't see me as well. I know I'm dark, but it is what it is. But yeah, I read the chapter a little bit before turning the camera on, and like I said, I don't have too much of an opinion because I've seen the superhero movie. This is very similar to the superhero movie. If you like the superhero movie, you're gonna like this for the most part. The changes, there's not too many changes. Just some little things. The art style is a little bit different. It is Torotaro's art style, but it does feel a little bit different from what we've seen him draw. Like the way Piccolo and Gohan are drawn is a little bit differently than how they looked like back in the Moro arc. All right, I did notice that. I'll give you guys my opinion on that as we go through. But yeah, so let's not waste any more time. Let's get into it. And my voice might sound a little bit deeper because I lost my voice on vacation and I have not had it for 2 weeks. So it's a little bit deeper. I don't know if it'll ever get back to the normal, but it is what it is. But let's get into it. So we got this nice little color spread, right? Pan, Gohan, Piccolo, and Gamma 1, Gamma 2, and Cell Max in the middle. So basically, if you're reading this, right, they expect that you've already seen the superhero movie, right? But yeah, here we go. But it starts off, and like you can tell right here, we got Piccolo. I love this drawing of Piccolo. It reminds me of old school DBZ a little bit. But we have Piccolo, and he's picking up Pan from school. You guys got to remember, this takes place 6 months after the prelude arc that we just saw with Goten and Trunks. So this is 6 months after Goten and Trunks took down Dr. Hito. And Dr. Hito's been in jail. So that's just for time purposes. And remember, during those 6 months, Goku and Vegeta have been back training on Beerus's planet following what happened in the Granola arc. So this takes place 6 months after the Granola arc. Goku and Vegeta, they have not come home. They're just training, getting ready, for a battle against Black Frieza. Training to surpass Black Frieza. And we can assume that at some point we'll probably see Goku, Vegeta, and hopefully Broly. Hopefully Broly will finally make his first real appearance in the DBS manga. But anyway, like I said, I love this image of Piccolo here, but like I said, the way Piccolo is drawn in this chapter, along with Gohan, it's a little different than Torotaro's usual art style. And I'll mention that. But you can see, I'm going to try to go through this pretty quickly because, like I said, if you've seen the superhero movie, there's not too many changes. But you see Pan And I do really love the interaction that Piccolo and Pan has. Uh, it's really cool. Piccolo is my favorite character in Dragon Ball after Goku. Like I love Piccolo. Um, and it's really cool to see the interactions he has with Pan. It's really cool stuff. Uh, but really, Piccolo picks up Pan because, of course, Fidel's busy training at her training school, which is really cool. And of course, Gohan's busy studying. So, like I said, the events of the Super movie are very similar here in the manga. But we see Pan like hanging out with Piccolo after school, and you can see it looks like Piccolo is watering like his plants. So Piccolo's house is very, very similar to the way it looked in the superhero movie. But it's cool to see Piccolo like watering and taking care, even though Piccolo lives in like the middle of nowhere. But I think there's something wrong with one of my arrows because every time I go back, it goes back like double pages. But anyway, it's cool to see Pan like practicing fighting outside. And this is it's important to note this is before Piccolo actually had started officially training Pan. And you get to see how that is built up. Like Pan says, evil's gonna be mopped up. Sandman is here, right? And Pan says the superheroes who Goten and Trunks turn into, that's their name, right? And I love how Piccolo's like, playing hero, are they? There was a time when Gohan was into that. So, of course, Easter egg to DBZ when Gohan was the great Saiyan. And Piccolo's like, I'll never understand Saiyans. But Pan says then they weren't studying enough, so they weren't allowed to be heroes anymore. So, a little bit of a follow-up to the prelude arc, so Chi-Chi and Bulma found out about them being superheroes, and I guess they weren't focusing on school, so they get banned from being superheroes. But we see Pan also wants to, be a superhero, right? And we see this reminds me a little bit of Goten in the first episode of Dragon Ball Super when he like runs the tractor off the cliff, and Goku has to save him. But we see Pan goes over, but she has like, even though she can't fly, she does have her father's genes, so she's still able to protect herself. I love Pan's like Piccolo's like she really scared me, So remember, Piccolo is not that emotional. He's not an emotional guy, so it's really cool to see him act this way. But Piccolo then offers to trade Pan. He's like, do you want to be a superhero that badly? Why not let me train you? And Pan's like, you mean it? Yeah. Piccolo, another Easter egg to DBZ, right? Early DBZ when Piccolo trained Gohan after Goku died in the battle against Raditz. Piccolo's like, your father was around your age when I started training him. How to fight. You might as well begin sooner rather than later. All right, and you gotta remember, Piccolo is only a couple years older. I believe he's only about 3-4 years older than Gohan. So it's kind of crazy here how Piccolo trained Gohan and now he's training Pan, even though Piccolo is still insanely young, right? With the experience, right, that he gets from Kami and having Nail inside of him, you would think Piccolo is much older, but Piccolo's only about 30 years old. You guys have to remember, Goku and Vegeta are way older than most of the cast. Like the oldest characters are like Master Roshi, of course, right? Chi-Chi, Bulma, because they never died, and of course Goku and Vegeta. I believe Vegeta's around in his early 50s, even though of course we know Saiyans stay in their prime till they're around 80. But yeah, Vegeta's around 50, Goku's around his late 40s, right? And then everybody else is young. Like Piccolo's only about 30 years old around here. And I love Piccolo's like, I'll mold you into the perfect little demon. And we see some cool scenes of Pan and Piccolo like playing around. I love it. So moving on, transition, we see that the West Capitol Police Headquarters where Krillin works, right? They're talking about, the Red Ribbon Army. Remember, Krillin, took down Dr. Hito with Goten and Trunks last chapter. So it's basically in this version, they don't say it in the anime movie, but in this version, Krillin knows who Dr. Hito is. Dr. Hito knows who Goten, Trunks, and Krillin are, right? And Krillin knows that the Red Ribbon Army is, trying to make a revival and how they're using like pharmaceuticals as a front, right? So Krillin is aware of what's going on pretty much the entire time here in the manga. And Krillin's actually one of the people in charge of taking the Red Ribbon Army down. So we also see, similar to the movie, we get that chart that explains Dr. Hito's family history. We see Volmi, aka Android 21. She had a child with Dr. Gero named Jivo, and we all know that's ended up being Android 16, I believe. And of course, Dr. Hito's parents, but there's no revealed. All we know is Dr. Hito's parents are dead. So we know Dr. Gero and Android 21 are Dr. Hito's grandparents. And basically, Android 16 is his uncle. But basically, for the most part, it's just explaining that, Hito has 3 months left in prison, and they know that when he gets out of prison, he's going to be contacted by Magenta and Carmine, right? Because they're going to try to bring him into the fold for the revival of the Red Ribbon Army and their evil plans. So Krillin knows what's going on in this version of the manga, and basically he's tasked with making sure that doesn't happen, right? So then this is very similar to the first scene, how the superhero movie opens, right? We see Dr. Hito's, I forget what he calls this. This is like his spy bot, but it's actually a very powerful spy bot, basically tracking. So Dr. Hito knew that Carmine and Magenta, wanted him to join their army. So very, very similar to what we saw at the beginning of the superhero movie. We see, of course, Dr. Hito, when he gets out of prison, him throwing a bomb into the prison. Right. So like I said, we don't really have to go through this all the way because a lot of this stuff is very similar to the superhero movie. And I know basically almost all of you guys have seen it at this point. So we see the conversation here, right? As we see Carmine and Magenta, they pull up in their car to pick Hito up to try to recruit him into the Red Ribbon Army to make androids for their world domination plans. And for the most part, everything is almost the same here, but in this version, in the manga, we have Krillin. Krillin is on patrol. Krillin is trying to basically play spy and basically confirm that they're trying to bring Dr. Hito in so that they can take them down before they can do anything. Of course, remember, Krillin can't take them down right now because Hito just got out of jail and he hasn't committed any crime. But they're just trying to confirm that the Red Ribbon Army is up to no good. So you can see Krillin spying into the car, but Dr. Hito notices Krillin on the car, listening in on the conversation, and he sends his little spy bot. I forget, he says the name of it here at some point, but he sends his spy bot, and basically it causes Krillin a lot of trouble. And I know some people are probably going to get a little bit unhappy here that, Krillin's getting his ass beat by a little, like a bug, but you guys got to remember here, this is Hito. He has the power to make super android. He was the one that made Gamma 1, Gamma 2, and had a role in making Cell Max. Characters that drove Gohan and Piccolo to their limits. Almost killed them. So, yeah, I know it is a spy bot, but this is a powerful spy bot. Krillin should be able to take it out on his own. But remember, Krillin wasn't focused on getting rid of a spy bot. He was more focused on, trying to tail Carmine, Magenta, and Dr. Hito. So you can see the conversation is very similar to what we saw in the superhero movie. The only difference is Krillin is trying to run tail, and you can see Krillin is having trouble with the spy bot. And you can see Hito, eating Oreos just like before. Right. And, Krillin is having trouble. And remember, Krillin overhears that that the spy bot has and the name of the spy bot is Hachimaru, very similar to the movie. But Krillin overhears that Hachimaru's stinger is so strong that it can kill you. Even, where does he says it? To be clear, that firearm doesn't scare me. I've injected myself with a particular compound that makes my skin resistant to bullets. Furthermore, please don't forget about Hachimaru. One jab from its toxic stinger will incapacitate a human or of any remaining biological compounds. Or any remaining biological compounds of an android. So basically, if Hachimaru stings you and any part of you is basically human, you're screwed. It's pretty much that simple. Um, but you can see Krillin has trouble, and Krillin actually takes out his gun at one point, and it looks like he actually defeats the sorry. It looks like he actually defeats Hachimaru, right? He sends Hachimaru flying, and you see that it falls on Carmine's window, and he almost causes a car accident, but everyone ends up okay. And of course they mention basically Bulma's gang, right? The folks who took down Cell, basically because Magenta believes that it's a secret organization meant to take over the world, but it's not in reality. And you can see Krillin is still on the hood, and he calls back to his police station. He's like, Sergeant Nouns, I can confirm the Red Ribbon armies go, and Hito's willingness to aid them, right? But Hachimaru is still alive, and he comes back and catches Krillin from behind and actually knocks Krillin out away, which is actually pretty funny. Krillin gets his ass beat by a bug, but it's a super strong bug, to be fair. So we get a little bit of a time skip, half a year later, right? So we see now, basically at this point, Pan should be around almost 4 years old. I think Hito's in jail for 3 to 6 months after Goten and Trunks and Krillin take him down. So 3 to 6 months pass, and then we get another small time skip of another couple of months after Hito gets out of jail. And you can see Pan's now been training with Piccolo for a couple months now. And this is very similar to what we see in the superhero movie, right? Pan has gotten a lot better, but remember the kick basically taken straight out of the movie, but Piccolo swats Pan away. Right? And Pan's like, "You okay?" "Yeah." And then they stop for some water. I like how Piccolo's like, "How thoughtful of you, Pan." So like I said, I love Piccolo because Piccolo's not really an emotional guy. I'm not an emotional guy in real life, but it's really cool to see Piccolo have these really cute emotions and how caring and thoughtful he is of Pan. We also see Pan tries to fly for the first time, and you can see the art style is a little bit different. It's not too different, but it is a little bit different than what I usually see from Toritaro. That doesn't mean it's bad or anything. I'm just saying, I do notice some differences here. I think Toritaro wanted to try to make this feel like superhero a little bit with the art style. So the way some of the characters are drawn are a little bit different. Sorry. But we see Pan tries to fly, but she's not able to. All right. And then we see Pan. They talk about Gohan a little bit and how Gohan could be stronger than Goku, but he doesn't really train. And then we see Pan go home, and we see Pan's able to go home by herself. Even though she can't fly, she can jump, run, swing on trees, right? And she can, go super fast to get home. So some very, very cool slice of life. This is very much a slice of life chapter, just like a good amount of the movie is a slice of life movie. So we see, right, the next morning, Piccolo is training, right, doing mental training. But then he gets a call from Videl to pick up Pan once again. Very similar, Videl says so make him a tasty meal, but remember Piccolo eats food, but he doesn't need food. The only thing he needs to survive is water. And I don't know, this is different. Piccolo says, "I only drink water, no food." You know this. And I think this is, I think Toritaro may got this wrong because we've seen Piccolo eat. Right, we've seen Piccolo eat in Dragon Ball Super. He eats. He doesn't need food to survive. He only needs water. So I think Toritaro might have just made this looks like a little bit of an error here. We know Piccolo eats. We've seen him eat in the series. Anyway, we see Videl says, "I'll get you another adorable plushie," just like in the movie. Piccolo has a collection of plushies. So you get like if you see right here, look at the way Piccolo's drawn right here. Like that's a little bit weird to me. That's not Tortaro's usual style. Like so the way Piccolo's drawn here, I find a little bit odd. I'm not saying it's bad, but I'm so used to Tortaro's art style that when I see something like this, it throws me off because Tortaro doesn't usually draw characters like that, you know. Anyway, we'll see Piccolo. He goes to visit Gohan. And it's very similar to how it goes in the movie. Very, very similar. Piccolo lashes out at Gohan for, caring about his research more than picking up his own child. Gohan's like, hey, like you're willing to do it. It's not a big deal. And you can see they also have Gohan's style is very similar to how it is in the movie. Gohan now in his base form, right? He has glasses. He actually needs glasses. When you go in the Super Saiyan, your senses are heightened, so you don't need to necessarily, you don't need glasses. So basically, you don't need glasses when you transform. But when he's in his base form, which is 99.9% of the time, he actually needs glasses, right? You can see he also has his very, very curly hair, and when he turns Super Saiyan or Ultimate, his hair straightens up. They give it that more serious look, but his hair is more of a naturally curly look. So like I said, Tortaro draws Gohan very similar to how Gohan looked in the Super Hero Movie. You guys also got to remember, this is not 3D. The movie was almost like it was a 3D movie. And this is manga. It's black and white. It doesn't have any of that type of stuff. So seeing Gohan in this style is a little bit different, but it's manga. But like I said, everything's pretty similar. We see Gohan. This is a little bit different than the movie, but pretty similar. When Piccolo asks Gohan about him being rusty on his training, right? Gohan says, "What? There's still evildoers out there. Besides, no matter the threat, we still have Goku and Vegeta. We still have Dad and Vegeta." Right? And Gohan blocks Piccolo's punch, and Gohan's like, "You didn't think I got in that rusty." So this kind of implies that, yes, Gohan does acknowledge that he's not training. He hasn't, and remember, this takes place after the Moro arc. The Moro and the Granola arcs take place before this arc. So, Gohan's not super rusty, but he hasn't been training. So it's not that he's forgotten. He just hasn't been training. He's rusty. He's just been handling other things. We see Piccolo, even though Gohan blocks Piccolo's first punch, he's not able to block the second one, and he gets hit in the gut, right? And then we see Piccolo, he puts training clothes on Gohan, heavy training clothes, and basically he flies away, annoyed at Gohan for being stubborn and kind of arrogant. I go on and says, "Thank you. Seriously, we'll send you another plushie." And Piccolo's like, "I don't want another one. I never said I liked those fuzzy things." And then we see Piccolo. He goes back to trying to do his mental training, but he's not really able to focus. And then he gets interrupted by Gamatu almost exactly. They did basically exactly the same way they did in the movie. Gamatu interrupts, and you can see Gamatu, the way he's drawn is a little bit different. It's the same, but the expression just looks a little bit different than the movie. I'm not saying it's bad because this is Tortaro's version, and you also got to remember that the movie was a 3D movie, something we've never seen before. But I remember Toriyama drew the characters in the superhero movie. He did the artwork, right? This is Tortaro doing his own version. I'm one of the best. Toriyama probably did some corrections like he always does. Tortaro can't do anything without Toriyama's approval. But, you see, here's Gamatu here, right? Making an appearance. He does, the way he's drawn here is a little bit different than how he looks in the actual movie. Just a little bit. But, like I said, there's no difference here with what they do. The interaction is just the same, right? Gamatu calls him, Demon King Piccolo. Piccolo's like, no, I'm just regular Piccolo. Piccolo calls him an old time hero, and Gamma 2's like, I prefer retro if you don't mind. He has that fun style to him, and Gamma 2 says his identity is a big secret, and that's where it ends. And this chapter is actually a couple pages longer than a usual manga chapter, but that's how the chapter ends. So, going into next chapter, we'll see Piccolo versus Gamma 2. Probably for the first part of the chapter, we'll probably see Piccolo then tail Gamma 2 to the Red Ribbon Army base, where he'll learn about the operation, and maybe we'll see Goku and Vegeta a little bit. Maybe we'll see it, but definitely next chapter we're probably going to see the opening with Piccolo versus Gamma 2, and we'll see how different that fight is from the movie, if there's any difference at all. We know that Gamma 2 does defeat Piccolo, but he doesn't kill him or anything. But like I said, there's not too much to really react to. For the most part, it's pretty similar. Probably what the biggest difference is, Krillin is aware of who Dr. Hito is and the Red Ribbon Army, revival. He's aware of it. In the movie, it's not mentioned at all if Krillin is aware of what the Red Ribbon Army is doing. But here, because of what happened, the prelude arc with Goten, Trunks, and Krillin defeating Dr. Hito a couple months prior, Krillin is aware, and he actually tails Magenta, Hito, and Carmine. But other than that, everything is pretty much the same. We do get some cool interactions with Piccolo and Pan before Piccolo actually started training Pan officially. But for the most part, it's pretty much the same here. The art style is a little bit different from what Tartaro usually does, so that it did throw me off. But for the most part, it's pretty much the same. But there are some panels that did throw me off a little bit. It seemed like Tartaro was trying to go for a more comic movie style art style here. But like I said, there's not much to react to because it's pretty much the same as the superhero movie. So if you enjoyed the superhero movie, you're probably going to enjoy this. We'll see. My thing is I want to see how different the fights are. Will the fights be the same? Will they be a little bit different? Things that. But for the most part, I expect everything else to pretty much be the same. But let me know what you guys thought. The chapter. Do you guys like it? Do you guys not? Do you prefer how the movie did it better than the manga, or do you prefer the manga of the movie? I'll probably ask you guys that question with every single chapter. What you guys prefer? Do you guys like how the movie did it, or do you guys think Torotaro did it a little bit better in the manga? I do expect some small changes here and there, like I said, with Krillin, knowing about the Red Ribbon Army and tailing Carmine, Magenta, and Hito. Right, I expect some minor changes from the movie here and there, but for the most part, it'll pretty much be the same story. I'm more interested to see how they do the fights. That's where I'm interested. But like I said, we'll see what happens here. Other than that, that's about all I got for you guys today. Let me know how you guys thought of the chapter. If you guys enjoyed the review / reaction, leave a like. Subscribe if you guys are new to the channel by hitting the bell. It's my name, Fitz TV, so you guys are notified every time I post a new video. I will see you guys later. Stay safe and healthy, y'all. Peace.